let's get right into it, talking about what is really the story of the game here, and that's Tommy DeVito. Tommy DeVito comes to this game. He's the change of pace guy. He's the new face. He's the guy who was the spark plug, as Brian Daboll called him, as they made the switch. And again, it's the right move to make the switch. I stand by that decision. Like that was the right move for this franchise to make. It was an embarrassment the way they did it to DJ. I'll still stand by that as well. But it was the right move to make the switch. So they go ahead and make the switch over to Tommy DeVito, who, like I said, spark plug last year, as Daboll said there, was 3-3 as a starter, had a couple of decent games there. Guys, the first half didn't do a damn thing. Like, I think 30 passing yards the first half. And, some of it was definitely some rust. Some of it was definitely some nerves, probably. You also look at the fact that Jermaine Eluemunor got hurt in this game. Chris Hubbard came in at left tackle. So you have Evan Neal and, Chris Hubbard back-to-back. Their back tackles there in this whole thing. And he got a lot of hit on him there. A lot of times he got hit. Some of the sacks were on him, though, for holding the ball too long. Again, it was a problem DJ had too as well, so it's not a knock on him as much as a consistency for the Giants here. But yeah, just couldn't get a damn thing going. Now, the second half, he finally got stuff going. Ends up in the game 16-24, 100. I should maybe refresh this. I was on the live game we're doing there when we were the play-by-play. So it ends up at that point in the game, let's see here, 21 of 31, 189 yards on the game. Now, it's hard to say how good his second half was, though, for two reasons. One, his first half was just that bad. And two, you go back to his second half and go, well, how much of that was the Bucs allowing it? At this point, when he started doing his thing, the Bucs were already up 23-0. You think the Bucs were in heavy, stop Tommy DeVito at all costs kind of mode? Of course they were. That'd be ridiculous to think that. The Bucs were at that point were just trying to sneak out with the win at that point. I don't mean sneak out your clothes, but I mean sneak out don't get anybody injured, just prevent defense, and they had no respect for this offense at that point. But he did get some things going, at least in the second half there. Started focusing a lot more on Malik Neighbors, who was had not a single catch the first half. And slowly but surely, he's got everything going. But again, you were hoping for a spark with DeVito. There was no spark. There was absolutely no spark whatsoever. And you look at this and you go, this is the same story, just different face. It's almost like when they when a TV show recasts somebody and we're supposed to act like we don't notice the difference. That's what basically happened. This is Becky number 2 from Roseanne, basically. This nothing has changed. It's the same story. And he did make some deep throws this game, and I have no confidence at all that DJ would have done that because he couldn't do it all year long. But in the end, Tommy DeVito is not a starting quarterback in this league, guys. We said that from the get-go. All we're trying to see here is if Tommy DeVito can be a decent backup in this league. And just based on this game alone, and he'll have other chances, obviously, to say otherwise. Based on this game, then you got to say no. He's a guy who's a free agent at the end of the year. A guy who literally you have to figure out what you're going to do with at the end of the season. And if it continues this way, it's going to be stopgap, going to move on, clean the QB room out entirely, and start fresh and new next year. Because you can't deal with these kind of performances and sit there and say, oh, this is a guy who could be a backup. This is a guy who could win you some games potentially. He lucked out in a few wins last year, but if you look at the games last year that he won, and a lot of it was the defense getting turnovers like crazy. And it's not to take away from him for what he did, but that's what the story was of the whole thing. As Deb says, I read earlier that Daboll did not commit to starting DeVito the rest of the season. He didn't, and he shouldn't. That would have been foolish to do that because that would have made it a big issue if he did make the change. Because I wouldn't be shocked at all if Drew Lock comes in at some point in the season, if not for any other reason than to give Drew Lock some saving of his face, so to speak, there in this whole scenario. Because obviously he did a little bit of egg in his face the way this went down. Because the backup quarterback got bypassed by the third string quarterback to start. And you got the one the one play in when DeVito got hurt temporarily, but it's a meaningless play, obviously, at that point. But, we'll see what happens with DeVito. If he continues playing like he did in the second half, he'll be fine. And he'll be a guy that you can sit there and say could be a potential backup in this league. Because he's playing like he played the first half. He's going to say it's time for a lock. Just again, to try to get something going at that point there. And just try to get out of this season with something to hang your hat on at all of semblance of not being absolutely embarrassed. But, DeVito, not good today, guys. Not good today. And, I heard that they were saying during the telecast that DeVito purposely told his family, his parents and his agent to kind of tone it down, not to be kind of the sideshow that it was for him last year. And, they didn't I don't know where they were in the stands. The TV didn't really go to them. And if they did, they didn't point it out specifically. They weren't very loud about it there. I was trying to listen to my earpiece as I was doing the live play. So it just seems like he gets it, that he needed to be legit right now. He's fighting for a future in the NFL, basically. But a game like this won't do it. I'm not ready to give up totally on DeVito as a backup yet in this league going forward. But if this is the kind of games we're going to get from him, then it's not going to go over very well. It's not going to last very long at all. And it's something that he's going to be ending his time with the Giants. And maybe he'll be a guy that'll be like he was for the rest of these other years where he's at mercy quarterback. He's the guy you keep in the practice squad, whatever the case may be. But he wants more than that. You can't blame him. But this is not the game that's going to get you more than that. This is the game that's going to get you exactly what you were. A mercy quarterback, a practice squad guy, a fringe NFL player. And he's smart enough to know, Tommy, is that the average player in the NFL only gets about 3 years. You are going to year 2. This is going to be make it or break it time in general. That's where we're at. But yeah, it's like I said, not a good start for him. Some positivity in the second half, but I'm still not sure how much of that is him and how much of that is the Bucs just giving up and playing more prevent style at that point there. So because they just flat out have no respect for the Giants and the way their offense is playing there. So.
If you like that clip, then you will love the full episodes too. Find us on your favorite podcast app and look for us on all your favorite social media platforms.
Thanks so much.
Please, I'm begging you. Please subscribe.